Cairns, Japagai, Yurikang, Gimoi peoples. And I also want to just say that we use the word art, but for Aboriginal and Torres Strait people it's much more than that. It's our way of life, it's our culture, our law, it's our identity. So it's much broader than that.
Mr. Rist, would you just mind giving your full name? And
yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Phil Rist. I'm a Nawagi person from around the Ingham area. And to my right you'll see a map there that shows 14 art centres and 500 artists that we represent in the north here. I'm the chairman of the Indigenous Arts Centre Alliance. Also my day job is I'm the CEO of the Girigan Aboriginal Corporation in Cairns. Senator Ian McDonald opened up our training centre many years ago with some funding from his department. That has now become the art centre, and we have about 30 artists in there. Art centres are much more than art centres. It's where people come, talk, listen, pass on stories, knowledge and everything. In the audience, I'd like to also acknowledge some of my other traditional owners in the audience here. There are art centres situated from Cairns in the south to Mornington Island in the Gulf, across Cape York and Torres Strait. All are dramatically affected by these cuts. IACA's vision is supporting culturally strong, best practice Indigenous art centres, and I emphasise the word culturally strong. Through these art centres we work to build the profile of Queensland Indigenous art and assist in the maintenance and celebration of the rich and diverse culture of far north Queensland Indigenous communities. We assist in the economic advancement for over 500 remote Indigenous artists. Cairns Indigenous Art Fair, CIAF, is an annual Indigenous art fair in Cairns. IACA's support to art centres is vital to assist in further development of the quality of the art to ensure this event grows and continues to attract collectors. Queensland Indigenous art is new to the national stage, with IACA the newest peak body in Australia. By contrast, Desert and Anchor peak bodies for the Northern Territory Western Australia are up to 30 years old. IACA has operated for only 3 years, so have not had a long time to have input into Queensland artists on the map. Last year the Ministry gave IACA one-off funds to employ 2 highly qualified and successful art centre development officers, which we recruited nationally. Travelling vast distance to our member art centres, these staff have been providing capacity building to train and mentor artists and art centre staff on the ground. While we were grateful with this chance to play catch-up for Queensland, we saw that the sustainability of our newly created professional development program was not assured. The Australia Council's 6-year organisational fund provided us with hope of a pathway to gain some continuity. Now the funding cuts to the Australia Council has meant that IACA has nowhere to send, has now lost 3 staff, and IACA's capacity to properly support art centres has all but ceased. Art centres are one of the only employers in remote Indigenous communities offering a career path and are vital places of cultural maintenance and creative activity. They act as a safe place for young people to go, away from other harmful pathways in remote communities. Current funding provided by state and federal governments to IACA is insufficient for IACA to offer the support for Queensland artists to catch up and compete nationally and internationally. The current situation is one where IACA has been funded to fail. Where do grassroots support organisations such as ours go to seek operational funding to develop excellence in the arts? In closing, we ask, will the new national program for excellence in the arts have Indigenous peer review panels, as the Australia Council has, with 100% Indigenous assessors that we trust to consider the merits of any application from any Indigenous viewpoint, These cuts to the Australian Council affect the most disadvantaged sector of the Australian community, Indigenous people living in remote communities.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.